Okay, so I wanted to explain about my most recent post and what stimulated or inspired that. I had to do so much processing today that I just wanted to get the main message of the dream out first. So I'll try to remember as many of the elements as I can. Okay. Any of you who are light workers out there, I know you're going through a lot from both sides, the light and the dark, actually. So my father, because his name's Mark, so he's representing this resurrection, okay, like Mark in the Bible, okay, so he's representing this energy. Mark is speaking through my father in my dream to send me a message because he knows my dad's name's Mark, so he's using him as the the visual and audible projection of his essence. So in my dream, and I can't remember exactly what order it went in, but for the most part it started out with kind of like I was in a doctor's office, but like sitting in the hallway, like when they have too many patients and you don't have a room. And it was like a bunch of light workers who were waiting to get, apparently, their crown chakra busted open. Like I thought I already had that busted open. Excuse me, but apparently it's this new level stuff. And it reminds me of a quote from Joyce Myers. Just because you go up levels, even serving God, it's like new level, new devil. So that's from Joyce Myers. That's a quote from Joyce Myers. You can check her YouTube videos out. New level, new devil. So I'm in this hallway, and it's really bright, and like the hospital type floor and hallway. So it's definitely like an ER kind of feeling. Okay, so I'm sitting there. And there's a bunch of other people around me in the hallway too, sitting there and walking around, standing there and all that. And so the doctor comes by me, and it's kind of like a Buddha almost, but he had like a white lab coat on, and because he was kind of like bald, he was bald, and he was like big, like Buddha, like not the Tibetan, not like Padmasambhava, but like Gautama Buddha, I guess. So he comes over to me, and he it seemed like he took something in his fist and like stabbed it into my head, like cracked it like so hard I could feel it. Even a lady in my dream next to me goes, "God, you did that pretty hard. Look at all the blood." But it was like that wasn't the darkness. That was the light doing that, okay? And so I had like this. Then I felt like a light worker zombie, like this. Not a wave of an emotion, like a wave of unemotion came over me. And apparently God was like, "You're ready for the next level." And I felt that crack on the head so hard. Oh God, like I woke up with a huge headache, and my crown was like busted wide open. But it was like numbing, kind of reminded me of like going to the dentist and getting that shot in my mouth, but it was like cracked open on top. It was like on the top of my head instead of in my mouth. It kind of reminded me of like scenes in a movie where someone needs like that scene in Pulp Fiction where he takes that syringe of adrenaline, I guess, or whatever it is, because she's overdosing, and he takes it and just like stabs her right in the heart, like it's, you know, to penetrate the chest bone, you have to like do it hella hard. I just said hella. I'm in Northern Cal, so NorCal people say that. Sorry, little slip there. But so that's what it felt like. It felt like that rush back to life, but it wasn't like a it was more like a release of that. Like, instead of having a wave of emotion, it was like a releasing of, it's like the opposite flow of having a wave of emotion just run through you. It was like a taking out of that by him doing that. And it felt like he hit me really hard on the head, coming, you know, like straight up and then like down right on my head. Not like smacking someone upside the head, like straight down on top of your crown. And then I heard as I started walking around, and I had this kind of like deep focus, not unemotional in a cold way, but in a very focused energy now, like it was time to go to war, like time to go to battle, like getting all the soldiers' heads shaved, but it was more like cracking open their heads, cracking open their crown chakras, and like implanting the next level of this light working thing. So I hear my dad's voice go, "It's getting down to the wire. They're collecting souls." He just said they're collecting souls. So I interpreted that as the light and the dark are both collecting souls. They're building the troops. They're getting ready for battle. They're, you know, all the cadets, you know, in boot camp, it's next level. Now it's time to go to war. So it's getting down to the wire, and they're collecting souls. Excuse me. And so I'm just, it was kind of choppy, bits and pieces, so the main parts that stand out. So I'm like on this bus, but right in front of the doorwell, and the doors was closed, but then it was wide open, and a straight shot out the door was this black-haired man. It looked kind of like a mail truck, because it was kind of lower and had a big open side too, but it was like a smaller vehicle. And I saw him reaching for this shiny metallic like hematite looking gun, and I just knew he was of the light, because he telepathically said, why do you keep like giving them information? Why do you keep like, it was just hard to explain the telepathic message, but it let me know he was of the light, even though I was scared and he was getting a gun out. So I had my son with me. All of a sudden I look down and my son's right next to me, so I'm like, oh, we gotta move out of the way. But so when he shoots the bullet in, it's not like a straight shot. It's like a bullet that has intelligence and finds you, like goes around corners and stuff like that. It's not like a typical, it's like a spiritual bullet. And so like curved around and swerving around in the bus and stuff. But I was kind of dodging it, even though I knew it was of the light. So, because it's like this new level, new devil, it's kind of hard to tell if it's the light or the dark, because they're pushing us so hard right now. So, but I could tell the difference, because, okay, so the ones that I thought were attacking me, okay, that was actually the light. The ones who were trying to trick me with gifts and being all nice, okay, those were the demons. So in my dream, I'm in like this house, and I'm speaking to this little old short little Indian woman, and because I could tell she had an accent, and she says, "Oh, so and so's outside. They want to tell you something. They want to give you something. They have a gift for you." So I was very skeptical, you know, when someone's trying to be nice. Very skeptical. In the dream, I was like, "Why? They don't even know me. Why do they want to offer me a gift? Why is it?" So I went out there. It was like in the evening. It was like dark. So the one guy like tries to say something slick, and then I just get right up in his face, eye to eye, like touching noses, like nose to nose, and he just backed down. He just shut up, and he went back down on the ground, got in his little like sleeping bag, covered up, like, okay. And so the other guy, and mind you, the one for the light had black hair, okay, and this dude had the second, okay, so the guy that I went to nose with, he laid down, and then the other guy who started talking to me, he had light hair, okay, but he was working for the darkness. And see how it's like a trick, okay? God is scarier than the devil, I'll tell you that. So this guy goes, like, has this flower in his hand, like a little wildflower he just picked, and he wanted to offer it to me, and he was trying to say, like, something nice and slick, but I could tell he was demonic. And so I did the same thing to him. I got right up in his face, eye to eye, touching noses. And he goes, "Oh, why are you so angry?" So he tried to use that against me, and he goes, "Oh, why are you getting so angry?" Right, trying to keep me in anger so he can feed off that energy. And as soon as he said that, I started smiling and giggling, and I said, but I still stood my ground and said, "Because I work for the light, I don't work for the darkness." And then he backed off right away too. So, trying to think what other bits and pieces of the dream. So there was my dad saying that thing. There was the doctor cracking the crowns open of the light workers who were waiting to get that adjustment. The thing with the bullet, the two demonic entities trying to influence me, trying to dissuade me, trying to lure me off my path, trying to use my own emotions against me, okay, and keep me in that state. So that it's very, very extremely important for us to maintain a high vibration right now, because they're collecting souls and we're getting ready for battle. And this dream was just so, and I kept waking up like all throughout the night, and I kept going back into the same dream. I kept going back, and I couldn't get away from this message. So the devil's a little trickster, a little liar, okay? They'll make you think that they're all nice and sweet and use certain words and blah blah blah, and you think the light, oh, they're all just going to be all love and light. No, they're cracking your crown chakra open. They're chasing you with spiritual bullets. Because they're collecting souls too. And that's what I mean by you can't have it both ways. You're going to have to choose the light or the dark, and I hope to God people choose the light, because if you choose the dark, it's going to be eternity down here, you know, the devil's playground. And I want to ascend and go home to be with Mother, Father, God. That's all I've wanted my whole life. I've missed God. I cried like God is my Mother, Father. And I had dreams when I was very young. I remember I got up 2, 3 before I even started like elementary school. I had this dream of my mother on a raft in all this water. It was like dark because the sky was like this red. It was like a red moon or red sun in a red sky, like a dark, deep, like a hazy kind of a red. And she was on this raft, like a you know, just old school, like, flat raft with a bunch of, like, logs tied together, and she was just sitting there and drifting towards me, and I remember looking into her eyes, and I said, "You're not my mother." I think this was right after I learned about adoption, what adoption was and stuff like that, and even though I'm not adopted, it was like, I felt that. I'm like, yeah, I'm adopted. Because, like, my parents, my biological parents, even though I know they're my biological parents, it's like, I knew they weren't, and at a very, very young age. I always look into the eyes. That's how I can tell. And then something was just off with my mom's eyes, which told me that it wasn't really her. My mother wasn't really my mother, you know. And I've had several dreams like that with my father, but I just remember that one really stood out because I was so young. And I didn't even really understand it until, like, years later, okay? Like, 30-something years later. It was finally making sense to me. And, let's see how much time I have for it. Okay. I'm kind of going into other dreams now because it's bringing forth those dreams and giving me clarity, and these dots are connecting, and it's these other dreams that I've had are starting to make sense now. Just trying to think if there was anything in that dream that I left out. Those were probably the main points. Oh yeah, there was something when the Indian woman was speaking to me. She was saying something about, like, false prophets, and, like, I can't remember the exact words, but it gave me this essence of, like, oh, she's talking about false prophets, and then Sadhguru popped up in my head, probably because, I don't know, because she's Indian and he's Indian, and I said, yeah, doesn't he have a bunch of children and he never got married, something like that? And this is, you know, spiritual inner engineering, you know, the Isha Foundation, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, and I spiritually drafted him. I learned about drafting when I was doing a review of all my relationships when I first started awakening. I went all the way back to my first relationship, so my high school boyfriend that I just posted, he's the one who just passed recently in the last couple days, and so I was doing this thing of, like, you know, analyzing my relationship with my father and all the men in my life, starting with my first boyfriend. And I started thinking about how I was clingy and jealous and just, you know, a lot of emotional issues with, you know, just abandonment issues, all that stuff. So, which is probably why he broke up with me. But he still really loved me, but we were young, you know, boys want to go sow their wild oats in the house. So you know, I mean, I know how it goes. So that's why I didn't have any negative emotions, because, I mean, eventually, you know, I got over it. And like I said, I'd seen him a couple times and we're all good. So anyway, the spiritual drafting came from because he injured himself skateboarding. He took up bicycling. And so I just started going through our whole relationship, how it evolved, when I started, like going downhill as far as, like, emotionally clingy and attachment and abandonment issues. And it was when he, you know, I started thinking, oh, when he goes out, like, would ride his bike all the way out to the ocean and stuff with his sister and his sister's boyfriend, and, like, be gone all day, and I just wanted him to come hang out with me, and so I'd get jealous and stuff. So, you know, because he was biking all the time, he knew of this thing called drafting, okay, which they would do, you know, like, anyway, bicycling and drafting, you know what it is. So I was like, I wonder if there's spiritual drafting and all these different things of, like, empathy. I was with someone for 9 years who never understood when I was trying to tell him something about how something he did or said made me feel. He would never understand, no matter how much I explained it, until it actually happened to him. And so I'm like, I wonder if there's this thing called experiential empathy. The empathy that's only gained when you actually experience the thing for yourself and feel that emotion that you caused someone else to feel, or were a part in bringing that up for them. So I was like, okay, spiritual drafting, experiential empathy. the amygdala, all these things started coming to me, flooding in when I get, when your kundalini, whatever, the crown chakra busts open, kundalini activates, and so that's how I found Sadhguru. But there was that thing that always bothered me, that he had children, but he didn't have a wife. So it was like, this, even he's like top dog, and I'm just like, this false prophet thing, no matter how big, successful, revered, renowned they are, they're gonna come crashing down no matter who it is and what they've built. If they're not living the life, leading by example like Jesus did, they're gonna be exposed. And I don't like to use words like psychic and prophet, and I just like, I have a dream, I share it. I have a shamanic journey, I share it. I gotta give a name to it so you understand what I'm talking about. That's why I use the word God. And everyone can, like the New Age community that doesn't want to use the word God or talk about Jesus, but they're saying, oh, love and light, love and light. Where do you think love and light came from? The book of John in the Bible. That's how he defines God. God is love. God is light. But we don't want to give credit where credit's due. We just want to, talk out our ass and say love and light, but we're not backing it up with our actions, and we're not even giving God credit for that, or John the Baptist. So, which I believe was Jesus' older cousin. They actually thought he was the Messiah because he was such a good man. So I was trying to think of another dream. Oh yeah, okay. So when I was a child, again, and there was a lot of these like indicative dreams. Okay, I didn't understand them at the time, but they were indicators that I would need later in life. So I remember this one dream. How much time do we have? Like 8.5 minutes. Okay. So this one dream where I was walking towards the back of the house, towards my mom's room, and I think she was already with my younger sister's father at that time, because my mom and dad got divorced when I was 2, and then we started living in this other house in another town when I was 3. So there was like a little break where she wasn't with anyone, but then like pretty soon, right away, like he moved in, and so I was walking back towards our bedroom, my mom's bedroom, and the back room was like, used to be my room, and it was like the laundry room and stuff, and and it led to my mom's room. It was right next to it. The doorway was, you had to go through the laundry room kind of like, and to get to her room. So as I'm walking back there, I see this huge upright like sewing machine, and my mom was a seamstress and made jewelry, all kinds of stuff. So I was very well aware that this was a sewing machine, but it was huge, and it was standing upright, and it was a Native American man / sewing machine. So it was this Native American man, like young, not too young, but I would say maybe 30, like pretty young, and like right around my mom's age at the time, so like something like that, 30s, but very like strong and tall and like muscular, like a warrior, like a spiritual warrior. And he had a chief's headdress on, and his arm was a part of the sewing machine. He was like one with this sewing machine. So, excuse me, the message I got from that, now connecting everything that's happening now, excuse me, was that the natives are woven into the fabric of everything. So that's all I got from that one so far, is that the natives' energy, their blood, their everything, is woven into the fabric of every society everywhere. So as much as they wanted to like kill off the natives and have their genocides and all this stuff, their energy lives on, and it will never die. So, and especially right now, this time of year, where the veil gets almost non-existent, the ancestors and the ancients are even being recruited. So it's a time to choose, and we can't have it both ways. We can't be double agents. You can't even be an independent agent. There's no neutrality in duality, and this is where we're living, in duality. So you're either for the light or you're for the dark. And if you're for the darkness, I'm telling you, you're going to have eternal damnation if you don't repent, and you're going to be living out. You're so attached to the 3D, good, you're going to have 3D for the rest of your life, but it's not going to be the version that it is now. It's going to be a version without any light. So, choose the light, because that's the only way. Christ is the way, the golden path. That's the only way home to Mother, Father, God. So I pray for you all that you choose the light. And I hope all that made sense with my dreams being jumbled all over the place. But if anything else comes up, I guess I'll just make another video. Alright, that's enough time. Sorry that went a little long, but just so much. That's why I waited all day to wrap my head around all this stuff. So anyway, until next time, and I love you all, bless you all, God bless you all.